Hi there and welcome along to another workout for you to row along to. We are on day 9 of the 30 days of 30-minute workouts, and as you can tell by the fleece, it's getting a bit chilly in RowAlong towers. Now what we're going to do for our 30 minutes today is we're going to do 4.5 minutes at 22 strokes per minute and round about 2k plus 16 pace, and then we're going to do 30 seconds fast. Okay, I'm not really going to give you any real guideline in terms of stroke rate or pace, but it's kind of you're just really taking it right up, like kind of sprintish. But remember, you're rowing for half an hour in total. So if you go absolute full eye bulging sprinting, then it might be a bit much. And then we're just going to repeat this 6 times over. Okay, so you get these little 30-second sprints 6 times. So I really want you to get up there. I want you to get like faster than 2k pace. It's like a really kind of good old pace to it, but I don't want you to completely blow yourself out because I want you to be able to settle back down into that 2k plus 16 pace at 22 strokes per minute to use that to recover to then go for that 30 seconds again. And because we're doing it this way, this puts it into the mid zone of my intensity pyramid, okay? Because it's not one of these bottom tier workouts which is just about low heart rate, long and slow, and it's certainly not an absolute max effort the whole way through, which is kind of really taken out of you. It's in between. Okay, so you get the 22 strokes a minute, which is kind of slow-ish, and then these little sprints, which is fast-ish, like up there, and then together it hits you at that mid-tier. Okay, if you check out on the YouTube channel, there's a big strap image that has my intensity pyramid on it, and that should hopefully at least make you go, oh right, I know what you're talking about. So let's get into our 4-minute warm-up as we always do. So head to the front of your machine or wherever your control is and set your drag factor or resistance that you have on your machine. Now, as far as drag factor is concerned, I have a video up here on the YouTube channel which says kind of what it is, maybe a few ideas where you might want to set it. But regardless, you want to set it to a point where you get a good weight from the machine, but you don't have to heave against it, okay? If you really have to pull against it, then it's set too heavy. And that's the same for resistance on non-Concept 2 rowers as well, okay? Next up, go to your monitor and set it to eye height, so you're not having to look up and you don't have to look down. And finally, if you can adjust the foot stretchers, the foot height on your rowing machine, then set it to a point where you're able to come to the front of the machine with your shins pointing vertically, comfortably, okay? If you can't quite get there, chances are your feet are set too high, and if you go flying straight past it, then chances are your feet are set too low. A good guide is that the strap goes across the balls of your feet or the bottom horizontal lace of your shoe, and then you can adjust from there. Okay, right, let's get into this 4-minute warm-up. I'm going to do it 18 strokes a minute, and it's just going to be enough of a push from your feet that you're putting some power into the machine so that you can concentrate on the connection timing between that foot press and your hands picking up the flywheel, okay? I'll explain more as we get into this. So, let's get ready to go in 3, 2, 1, and we're off. So what I mean is that the power that goes into the machine comes from your leg drive, from your feet, but it has to get into the machine somehow, and that's by going up through your body, through your arms, into your hands, and then your hands connect to the handle connects to the flywheel, and then that's what moves, okay? So you have to get the push of your feet and that connection of the handle as close to the same time as you possibly can. If you push with your feet first, your backside goes scooting out from underneath you and you don't get as much power into the machine. If you pull first, you just can't get that snap of the power in from your legs. Okay? There's other issues with that, but we're just talking about the connection right now. So try and get them to connect at the same time. And then for the next 45 seconds or so, increase your pace up to around about 2k plus 20. Now if you don't know what I mean by all this 2k plus stuff, it's based on rowing a 2-kilometer time trial. And then you divide your resulting time by 4. That gives you the average time to cover 500 meters in your 2k time trial. And that is your 2k training pace. So when I say 2k plus 20, you just add 20 seconds to your 2k training pace. Okay, 2 more strokes, 1 more. Put a foot on the ground, carry on rowing. Now this is a little bit about balance, which is probably more important in a boat than it is on a rowing machine, to be fair. But also about just helping you stretch yourself off, because you've only got one leg strapped in. It's easier to get into the right body positions front and back. Swap feet, and what I mean is that you lean forwards into around about 1 o'clock lean, okay, so you tilt forwards over your hips to 1 o'clock, and then at the back you tilt to around about 11 o'clock. Okay, so it's easier to do that with only one leg in, because you're not all compressed up. 1 more stroke here. Both feet into the straps, and practice that rock back and forwards from 1 o'clock to 11. So you rock, then pull in your arms, then push out your arms, then tilt forwards again. And really do think about hinging, tilting over your hips rather than crumpling forwards, okay? Just pick up the flywheel with your back first, then pull in. Okay, let's roll to the front of the machine with a forward lean, straight arms, and just press out from the front. Not too powerfully. I just want you to think about that connection between your feet and your hands, starting the drive while you've got this forward tilt going on, okay? So that's really important in the stroke. 1 more. Oh, there we go. Right, so today's row starts off at 22 strokes a minute, 2k plus 16, which isn't that intense, but if you feel you need to warm up a little bit more, then have a quick drink, and just while I quickly recap what it is we're doing today, do some light rowing, and that will kind of keep your heart rate up, ready to start. And then then once I've finished explaining what the session is, stop. Well, that should give you around about 20 to 30 seconds before we actually start into the main session, okay? I can have a quick drink now. I'll cover my microphone so you don't have to listen to me having a drink. At least I'm hoping that wasn't picked up anyway. What buzzed? Somebody buzzed me. Oh yeah. It's my watch saying, "Are you rowing?" I'm like, how do you know? Right. Okay. I can take my fleece off. Right, so, sorry, you suddenly just became oh, this is life, not rowing. So today's session then is 22 strokes per minute for 4.5 minutes at 2k plus 16 pace, and then 30 seconds fast, okay, at probably round about 2k pace. Don't worry if you're a few seconds off, it's just about going a little bit slow, a little bit fast, okay? And we're going to do that 6 times, and 6 times 5 minutes equals our half-hour row for today, okay? So that's how we're doing day 9 of the 30 days of 30-minute workouts. And this is a mid-tier. Yesterday's was a bottom-tier recovery. Today's is a mid-tier, slightly higher intensity, and obviously then that means that day 10 is going to be back to some kind of a bottom-tier workout, okay? So we're just taking it up a little bit, and then we're going to go back down, and so it's just, this is what we're doing with intensity for this whole thing. All right, if you've been doing some light rowing, then stop now just to have a quick drink and kind of get yourself sorted. But yeah, so it's just a straight half hour. That's how we're kind of breaking things up. I'll keep you right with when to start and stop. Hopefully I won't be telling you any little stories today and completely forget to do the sprint. But if I do, then my apologies. That was quite embarrassing in yesterday's one, wasn't it? Anyway. Right. So 4.5 minutes and 22 strokes a minute. 22 strokes a minute's a little bit awkward, but hopefully together we'll get in time after a few strokes. So just follow me on the video or listen to me on the podcast, and you should hear the whoosh of my flywheel on the podcast to follow along to that. All right? Okay then, let's get into this. In 3, 2, 1, let's go. So 2k plus 16 pace at this rate. Like I say, it's higher than what a bottom tier row would be. I tend to, once I get past the 20 strokes a minute, 2k plus 18, you do start to kind of get towards the upper end of a bottom tier, if nothing else. It's just that little bit more of a push that you need from your legs in order to get the pace up to 2k plus 16. And the stroke rate does feel that little bit faster. I usually say that 24 strokes a minute is when things start to feel a lot more fluid and that you're not needing to slow down any phase of the stroke. But actually 22 feels as though you have to keep everything flowing nice and smooth and a little bit faster. Don't worry on these things, by the way. If you are like 23 for a while or 21 for a while, don't stress too much about it. It can be really easy to chase numbers all the time and let them be the kind of what you base your motivation and success on, like the precision of it. But as long as you're not like 3 or 4 seconds off or 3 or 4 strokes per minute off constantly, then don't worry about it. Unless you're trying to do this thing, they call it OCD rowing, which is about getting a perfect screen of intervals that have exactly the same stroke rate and pace and distance. That can drive some people mad. If you row a 30-minute row set to 5-minute splits and try and make them all identical, you can go years without it happening. Right, so we've got just over a minute to go until our first sprint. But I do want you to get the stroke rate up there and your pace. It's important that you see a kind of spike in pace, rate, and probably heart rate too if you come back and analyze this row. Because as much as I'm saying don't be a slave to the numbers, the numbers are still really useful to look at after a row to see how you got on. Right, so we're going in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Really take things up. So I'm kind of round about my 2k stroke rate and just slower than pace. 3, 2, 1. Ease it back down. Now if you did the Halloween row along with me when I was dressed as Wolverine. You'll have also already done very similar to today's row. Can't remember what was it 27 seconds or something, the sprint I had on that one. Can't remember why. Or was it 21? Because it was 31 minutes and 10 seconds in total. And then to make the full 31:10:21 date, I then had 21 seconds of sprinting. Hopefully you are back on rate and pace. Ideally, you want to get back to your rate and pace as quickly as possible after these sprint sections, but it's easy to get distracted, which I just did, or just as we go through this row and the edge gets knocked off you, it can just take 30 seconds or so to lock you back into the right rate and pace. And don't worry, I've not forgotten about technique. I just wanted to make sure we get through 2 of these chunks of 22s and sprints so that we've all experienced what we're meant to be doing, and then I'll start talking technique. Hopefully your energy levels are okay today. This is day 9. It is day 9, isn't it? Yeah. For me, for doing these in a row, which isn't too bad. I think I'll often do like an hour's worth of rowing in a day, so because it's only half-hour sessions, as we approach a third of the way through this, I'm not feeling worn out yet. And the good news is I don't have a bike race tonight, which I think was my undoing on session 2, or certainly for session 3. Okay, so in 20 seconds time we'll get a bit sprinty again. Right, so in 2, 1, let's go sprinting. Get that stroke rate up. Push harder. More force from your legs. More force from your legs, plus a higher stroke rate, should result in a lot more speed. One more. Back down. Whew. And try and get back in to that 2K plus 16 pace again. Now, if possible, try not to do anything weird with your technique as you go through this transition out of the sprints and into the slower section again. You want to stay powerful. You don't want to kind of flop in through the stroke because you've just put in that extra exertion. Just remember, nearly everything you're doing power-wise, the attenuation comes from how hard you push with your legs. A harder push means a faster drive speed and more power into the machine. And if you match that faster drive speed with a comparatively faster return as well, that's how your stroke rate goes up. And so coming back out of the sprint sections, if you just push slightly softer with your legs, that will create a slower drive speed. And if you slow the recovery too, then hopefully that is how you get your stroke rate down to 22 strokes a minute and the pace down to 2K plus 16. Now, hopefully you've clocked on to the fact that I'm saying it's all about legs. It's not about pulling harder or softer. If you have good technique, what you should find is that it's just about the force that goes through your arms as you push harder or softer. That tension against the handle is higher when you push hard with the legs at higher rates when you're trying to go fast. It should feel easier as you drop down the stroke rates to slow down. Okay, 10 seconds to go. 2 more. 1 more. Let's go sprinting. See how the drive speed increases. So it's faster than it was before, and my recovery is faster than it was before. Okay, 3, 2, 1, back down to 22. Slower rate, softer push with your legs. And when it comes to that drive speed and recovery relation, you really, at these lower rates, want to think about your drive speed being twice as fast as your recovery, or your recovery is twice as slow as the leg drive. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Although doing that, I instinctively slowed down to 20 strokes a minute. I'm like Pavlov's dog. Just, yeah, anyway. All I'm saying is that your drive phase should be twice as fast as recovery. And that should make sense. You want to spend twice as long recovering as you do putting in exertion. And then you just have to make sure that your recovery uses as few muscles as possible to allow it to be a recovery. After all, we're not just recovering to the front of the next stroke. We are trying to let our bodies recover after the drive phase. So it's like effort, recover, effort, recover. And that's why I talk about the importance of rhythm and technique when rowing, because that helps you through the different phases of the stroke to have that flow that lets you recover. And one of the most important things about it is that as you drive, you get your legs down, okay? Down at the back of the stroke. You don't tug your feet against the foot straps to stop yourself. So legs drive and they're down. Even think about pointing your toes to the front of the machine as a way to stop you flicking against the foot straps. And then when you get your hands away from you, that starts your recovery, puts your back into that forward tilt, and then all you have to do is bend your knees and you'll slide effortlessly towards the front of the machine. Alright, you ready for this next one? In 2, 1. Let's go sprinting. That's today's hashtag right there. Let's go sprinting. Get the rate up, handle comes into your chest, and then straight back out in the same rhythm. In, out, in, out, in, out. 2 more. 1 more. There we go. We are under 10 minutes to go. That's good news, isn't it? Just got 2 more of these chunks, if you want to call it that, to go. And it should, as we hit this point, it should have hit that mid-intensity for you and properly reveal itself that this is the intensity you're working at. It's not easy like a bottom tier row. Well, to be fair, they're not easy, they're just the bottom intensity when rowing. Easy is sitting on your couch watching reruns of Quantum Leap. There's a reason that I bring up Quantum Leap today, because just as I was about to come out, there's a news announcement that sadly Dean Stockwell has passed away. He played Al, in case you're like, who? Wonder if he enjoyed his time over the past 30 years or so with people tapping their phones in front of him and asking if it was Ziggy. Anyway, what was I? Yeah. So easy is sitting on the couch. Bottom tier rowing is when you are putting in effort and the heart rate starts to climb. But then mid, like today, is when you have to put in that extra little bit of oomph to hold rate and pace. You know you can complete, but it's just you have to push a little bit in order to complete. And then top maximum tier rowing is proper eye bulging exhaustion level, which these 30-second sprints, if you were to hold them at that sprint pace for much longer than, say, 3 minutes, they would then become top tier sessions. So remember, your power and pace for the sprint that's coming up in 40 seconds comes from that push from the legs. Keep that forward lean of your back and straight arms as you push the machine away from you. That helps to get the power into the machine. Okay, you ready? Just a few more strokes. 2 more. 1 more. Let's go sprinting. Get the rate up. Handle away from you. Helps get the stroke rate up. And then you push with the legs in that forward lean. Straight arms. Almost done. 3, 2, 1. Back to 22s for the last time. Try and really focus on getting into that pace as quickly as possible. You're not meant to slow down so much that you end up taking a rest. It's just about keeping the intensity up there in order to keep this at that mid-tier intensity. Now if you find or found fatigue has started to set in, then it's time to just do a sit rep on your technique. So you slide forwards till your shins are vertical, knees are as wide as your armpits, okay? It's the best way to describe it. Not together, not outside your elbows, but they would be in your armpits if they were low enough. But you have a good posture up on your sit bones, powerful braced core and lumbar area, and that keeps your armpits away from your knees. You are tilting in to a 1 o'clock lean, hinged over your hips, with arms straight, chin neutral as you look straight ahead at the monitor. You're not looking up, you're not looking down. And then you push your feet into the machine to push it away from you, holding those arms straight and your forward lean. If you sense that you are grabbing with your arms, then as you come forwards, a slight outwards rotation of your elbows may be enough to keep them straight as you drive with the legs. And then keep that leg drive going in the forward lean, arms straight. And once your legs are about halfway, that's when you finally swing over your back from that forward lean to the backward lean, and then pull in the handle to come to a finish. So you're not pulling until the end. So it's straight pull, straight pull, straight pull, and then let your arms bounce away from you so they get nice and straight. Your back rocks forwards, then you bend your knees to return. Okay, 2 strokes. One more. Last sprint. Come on. Can you see the best numbers so far? I already have. Can you go faster? More of a push. Really explode out the front. Push. Almost there. 3, 2, last one. And we're done. Thank you very much. C'est fini. Oh. Why? Got down to 1:37 at the end there, which is 2k minus 8 for me right now, so quite pleased with that. Although most of the sprints were around about 148, which is 2k plus 3, so it may well be that I was kind of playing them a little bit safely in order to be okay for the whole row and the finish, but kept it nice and mid-tier. Right, cool down in 15 seconds. Make sure you've had a drink. Get yourself strapped in. Wiggle your backside. And we're going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. The wiggle your backside wasn't just me being funny. Just reseating your seat on the seat can help alleviate where your sit bones may have been squashing your glutes for the past half hour. Anyway, pick a pace that you feel will let you cool down. I'm at 2k plus 30 right now. It's kind of where I do most of my cool downs, unless I've just done a real monster sprint session, in which case I'll start a little bit faster and then slow down. The point being, you want to kind of curve into a, not a stop, but into a cooled state where your heart rate's starting to come down even when you're rowing. Your muscles are enjoying the fact that they're just having a light pumping action, flushing the carbon dioxide and acids that are in there out of them, out of your body. And with any luck, you're feeling properly energized after today's row. I know I am. My bowl of power has been used. Maybe about 60% of it was certainly more than a bottom tier row would have drained my big bowl of blue power. Right, 2 more strokes for me. 1 more. You don't have to stop cooling down just because I have. You can continue to row, or as I say goodbye, you can stretch. I recommend stretching your hamstrings, your quads, maybe your hip flexors, shoulders, and then if you're a grabbing handle person, then your biceps and your forearms as well, okay? There's other muscles to stretch, and I will make a video at one point about all this. But yeah, have a little stretch while I just say goodbye. But yeah, so this one, I feel it's around about 60% of my, I talk about having a bowl of power this is like inside you, this is the power that you have available for that day's row, okay? If you didn't catch me talking about it in day 8's row, then you might be like, what's he on about? But yeah, that's the way I think about power, and like the low heart rate, low intensity stuff only really uses about half of your bowl. But then slightly more intense workout like today is probably like 60-70% of your bowl of power has gone. But then that's why we then go into a bottom tier the next day, because that allows, because overnight obviously your bowl is going to start to fill back up, but after a mid tier it might only get to run about 90% full instead of 100%. So you follow up the next day with a bottom tier, which then only uses a little bit, and then by the time it's overnight again, it then has the chance to top all the way back up to the top again, and then you hit a top tier which then completely drains your bowl. And so that's how I think about it in my wee head. That's the way I think about it. One of these days I might even draw something out for you. Although I kind of figure, you know, I could do like not a science experiment, but I could get a lab coat on and a pair of glasses and say, hey, this is my bowl of power. Oh. But I'm sure you don't need that. But hey, it could be a bit fun. I could do it with the kids. But yeah, so that's what today was. A little bit more intense, a little bit more power. But the good thing is that every time you do this, your bowl gets a little bit bigger and a little bit more efficient at how it uses that power. Okay, so you're constantly, it's like, well, I talk about it being like a pewter bowl, okay? But it's probably more like a clay bowl, okay? It's like that scene in Ghost. It's Demi Moore and it's been a story of dead people today, Patrick Swayze. Yeah, and they're molding their clay bowl and making it bigger and smoother and taller and whatever. That's why this is why we train, is to give yourself a better looking bowl that can fit more power into it, and it can get the power out more efficiently. So that when it comes to the big show, you've got that huge bowl of power, and everything can just, over the 7 minutes or so for your 2K, say, it can just go whoosh and give you all that power in one dump state, and then you can go, hey, I did well. So there we go. There's a little, yeah. I don't need to make the video now, do I? Anyway, right, so there we go. That was day 9 of the 30 days of 30 minutes. Like I've said a few times, don't feel you need to do all 30 day after day after day after day the way I'm doing it. I'm just doing it that way so I can make sure into the 30 days of 30. There is no prize at the end of this. There's no, apart from like, yay, bragging rights. If you want, I'll send you a little certificate. If you can prove you did all 30, I will send you a lovely little RowAlong certificate. So just get in touch. If you want to get in touch privately, then it's just info@rowalong.com. Or you can reply to on like the community page or all that kind of stuff. You can post stuff up there and let me know how you get on, and I can send you a certificate if you wish at the end of all these 30 days. Why not? Let's just do that, hey? If you get in touch, I will make a certificate for you to say 30 days of 30 minutes, done. You don't have to do it 30 days in a row. You can just do it, even if it's the end of December and you've done all 30. As long as you can show me you rode all 30 sessions, then I will give you what my late mum, God, is it the story of dead people, isn't it? Crikey. Would have called a sticky foot. Not a certificate, but a sticky foot. I think it was a Terry Wogan. I've got Terry Wogan now as well. Good grief. I'm just calling up. It's like a seance in here. Yeah, he would have talked about heliocopters instead of helicopters and sticky foots and whatever. You can see the smile on my face. It's like my childhood coming back. Anyway, let's shall we say goodbye? We've already done the hashtag for today. Again, if you're new to this, to what I do, then I tend to throw out a hashtag just so that anyone that's posting a comment can use it just to let me know you got this far. But yes, so it was let's go sprinting, wasn't it? Even though today's session isn't a full sprint session, it'll at least let me know you got there. But yeah, and don't worry if you can't comment and whatever. A few people get in touch and say, oh, I don't really do social media, I feel quite bad. Don't worry about it. I mean, listen, it helps, to be honest, when people watch the videos and people comment, it helps in terms of the YouTube algorithm that, and then people coming along see it and go, oh, look, this is a popular video, and then they might watch it as well. But really, it doesn't matter. As long as you sat there and rode today's session, it doesn't matter. Okay, as long as a few people let me know they're out there, I will continue to make these videos. So yeah, watch the video. That's all you have to do. Anyway, the last thing to say is just a quick reminder that I've started up doing Form Check Fridays, which is basically I look at videos of people rowing and I say, here's what's good about that. Here's what you could improve in terms of back angles and stuff. And I'm going to start off just doing a couple of library videos I've found. I'm going to do one of me. And then I'm hoping that you lovely folks are going to start sending me in videos of you rowing, either YouTube links, or you can send it, if it's too big, send it via WeTransfer.com to info@rowalong.com. Okay. You can send me a video and then I will go through it, and on screen I'll upload the video so other people are going to see it. Or you can do the same. You can just send it to me privately and say, please don't use this on Form Check Fridays, but let me know what's happening with my stroke. I'm more than happy to look at anybody's stroke and kind of give you some guidance, but it would be lovely to be able to do Form Check Fridays and look at other people rather than just my own stroke, because that could get boring after a while. Yeah, so hopefully you will be part of that, and it's going to be a little bit of fun. Yeah, I've literally bought into it. I've used the money I get from the Patreon thing to buy a little bit of kit that will help me do this a bit more professionally. So thank you so much to all the people that support me through the Patreon thing. Like I said, all the money that comes into that I'm funneling back into RowAlong. It's not like I'm sitting here with a villa in Spain for it. It's just, yeah, I bought myself a nice little thing that I can draw on screen. It'll be quite cool. Literally 5 minutes ago I said I'm going to say goodbye, didn't I? So hopefully you're all stretched off right now. Maybe you're packed up as well and things, and you're walking down into the changing room still watching me on your phone going, is he ever going to stop? Yes, I'm going to stop. Thank you so much for doing this one. Please look after yourselves. Stay safe. Be well. Bye-bye.